Thanksgiving is right around the corner. And as you're sitting around the table this Thursday with loved ones and friends, and you're reflecting on the things that are most special in your life, I'd like you to ask yourself a question. Are you taking those things for granted or as granted? Hi, everyone. Chris Natsky here with Black Belt Leadership Speaking and Coaching with your Mind of a Champion tip of the week. Well, as I said, Thanksgiving is right around the corner, and I don't know about you, but this is the first time in a couple of years that things seem to kind of get back to normal. I'm going to be spending time with family and friends around the table where in the past it might have been a little limited in terms of the people that would be able to join us. And I guess if the pandemic taught me anything during that time, is that there were several things that I was taking for granted in my life. I was taking for granted going to the movie theater, getting that big old tub of popcorn. I was taking for granted hanging out in coffee shops and doing work, or hanging out at Whole Foods and meeting friends. I was taking for granted teaching martial art classes to a large group of students, and I was taking for granted being able to speak in front of large audiences. All those things that were happening so often in my life that I have to admit I was taking for granted versus as granted, as a gift that that I can really relish, and hopefully you've got some of those examples as well. So what are some ways as we move into this holiday season, and we're going to be spending Thursday reflecting on all the things we're grateful for? What are three things that we can focus on to not only make the most out of this day, but also for the rest of the remaining year? So here's three thoughts that I have about how we can make sure that we're taking things as granted versus for granted. Number one is to slow down. If the pandemic taught us anything, is we were forced to slow down. But when we were forced to slow down, we have a tendency to look at things a little deeper. We tend to look at things that maybe we didn't notice before, or things that we always just thought would be there. Now all of a sudden they're gone. So by slowing down and reflecting on those things, what it really does is it helps us gain a greater sense of gratitude for what we really have. So hopefully over the next couple of days as you're celebrating your Thanksgiving holiday, you can slow down and really reflect. Number two is to really connect with people when you're saying thank you. I don't know how many times I've been in a store or someone hands me something and I just say, oh, thanks. And it's almost like it's unconscious. It's just like a response, an automatic response, but I don't have any meaning to it. So a couple of years ago, I started playing a game. I was thinking, man, every time I go to a store to check out, I'm pretty rote in terms of how I'm interacting with the checker. That's assuming I'm not going through the automatic checkout. But I really wrote, very making little eye contact and having very little conversation. And they're doing the same. It's almost like, yeah, thanks for shopping here with no intention. So the game I started playing with myself is I noticed, of course, everyone has name tags on. So as soon as I would go to check out, I would say, hi, Jennifer, how are you? And I'd strike up a conversation. And at the end, I would always make sure to say, hey, thanks so much, Jennifer or Jim or whoever, whatever their name was. And you could literally see people's energy change just by that little interaction. And what it helped me to do is to become more conscious of how I'm showing up and showing gratitude in my everyday life. And then number three is to realize that gratitude is a practice. It's not just a feeling. Let me say that again. It's a practice, not just a feeling. Now, we can all think of things that we're grateful for in our lives. And again, this Thursday, we're going to be doing that. But in order to maintain that level of gratitude through our lives, it has to become a practice. It has to be something that we consciously embark upon before it ever becomes unconscious. And one of my favorite books really spelled this out. It's by an author named Robert Emmons, and he has a book called Thanks. And what they did is they did an experiment, and they had people each and every night versus a control group write down at least 5 things they were grateful for every evening before they went to bed. So that's what that group did. The other group didn't do anything. They just went to sleep, right? But this group that they studied wrote down 5 things that they're grateful for of the day or in their life at the end of every evening. And here's what they found out. Number one is those people had a 25% increase in their level of happiness pre or post versus pre-experiment. I mean, who doesn't want more happiness, right? They found out that they slept better. They also found out that the relationships flourished. And then finally, they realized that they couldn't have negative thoughts and positive thoughts at the same time. So it kept them in a higher degree of positivity in their lives. And it was nothing more than a practice of gratitude. A practice of gratitude. So this holiday season, this Thanksgiving season that we're entering into, I really encourage you all to take some time, slow down, and think about those things you're grateful for. Make sure that your thankfulness is coming from a sincere and connected point of view, and then also incorporate a gratitude practice in your life, however large or small you want that to be, so you can keep that energy moving in your life. And then that way, you'll always make sure that you're not taking things for granted, but you're taking them as granted. So thanks so much for listening. Have a fantastic holiday. This has been Chris Nansky with Black Belt Leadership Speaking and Coaching, and we'll see you next time on the Mind of a Champion Tip of the Week.